Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we're going to be talking about the Baltimore Ravens and the offseason plan I laid out for them. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I post next. Let's get into this video of the Baltimore Ravens off-season plan. So starting off with cuts or trades, they're at positive $18.5 million. So I decided not to do too many cuts or trades. I decided to cut guys that were being paid like starters but aren't actually starters, like Tyus Bowser. He's a backup linebacker being paid like a low-end starter. He was starting prior to Roquan Smith coming in. So maybe with Patrick Queen potentially leaving, Tyus Bowser becomes a starter again. But I decided to cut him, save $5.5 million. Then Morgan Moses, our starting right tackle. He's a vet right tackle that you can get cheaper, younger, and a better fit. You know, with the age, you kind of get slower. And with this high-paced, fast offense, you can't have your right tackle being slow. $5.5 million to save there. Then Patrick McCarry, a backup lineman who that isn't great when he does start. You replace him every single year. You know, the fact that John Simpson overplayed Patrick McCarry, it means that they don't really see that, a viable future with him in the future. You save $4.3 million cutting him. You save $15 million in cuts. Then restructure Ronnie Stanley and Marlon Humphrey, who are both cap casualty potential guys this season. I thought about trading Marlon Humphrey. I thought about trading Ronnie Stanley, but decided to keep them for at least one more season. I'm going to restructure them and save another $15 million. Meaning I'm positive $48 million in the cap space. Going on to re-signings. My first re-signing is going to be Kyle Van Noy. Coming off the bench this past season, coming off of his couch this past season, he had 16 tackles, 9 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 21 stops. At age 33, he is still very productive as a pass rusher. He won't be too expensive to retain due to him being 33 years old. I don't think there's a whole lot of teams are going to want him, but I think the Ravens are definitely a team that needs him back next season. He gives them an option if David Ojabo still can't come back. He's had a plethora of injuries since coming into the league that it's kind of worrying at this point about his career. Kyle Van Noy can be that steady guy that we know can produce in our system, but he might leave and go to McDonald down in Seattle. I think there's a big chance that he actually brings over Kyle Van Noy, who we advocated to bring in during the season. So I signed him to a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. Again, I think there's a chance that he actually goes McDonald with Seattle and is one of their veteran pass rushers over there. Next, we're going to tag Justin Madubuike. He had 35 tackles, 14 sacks, a forced fumble, and 37 stops. He's a great D-tackle they developed in-house. He's a big part of what they do defensively. The fact that he's that athletic at that size, I think it just causes too much disruption to not tag him. I think you tag and you work out a long-term deal, and this is going to be the decision they have to make. Do they want to keep Patrick Queen, or do they want to keep Justin Madubuike? For me, I would rather keep Justin Madubuike and Roquan Smith. I don't want to invest $45 million into 2 linebackers. That's not how you win. I think, though, $40 million between a franchise D tackle and a franchise linebacker, that's something that's more manageable. So I decided to franchise tag Justin Madubuike. At worst, to get 1 more year of production out of him, and he walks next year. But coming off a career year, I'm going to tag him and try and work out a long-term deal while we have him under the franchise tag. Then I'm going to be re-signing Geno Stone as well. He had 50 tackles, 7 interceptions, which was first in the NFL, and 13 stops. He led the league in interceptions, as I just said. Great ball hawking safety this past season. His former 7th round pick, making a big impact on the team that just was a number 1 seed in the AFC. Geno Stone, I remember when he was drafted, I thought Geno Stone was pretty good. He fell in the draft, and it consistently makes the roster and makes plays on this roster. He won't be too expensive to retain, seeing how, he's had good years, but this was his best year of his career, and I still don't think he's one of the top-end safeties. So while Hamilton plays Rover, you've been allowed to have Geno Stone and Marcus Williams on the field at the same time, with Kyle Hamilton playing that Rover spot. So instead of having a slot corner, you have Kyle Hamilton right there. I think Geno Stone's been able to play on the field. I decided to give him, what was it? Well, let me get my number. It was a 2-year, $15 million deal, $8 million guaranteed. That is about half of it guaranteed, about 58% of it guaranteed. So good on Geno Stone. I'm going to, pay the guy who has really blossomed for this team. But that's the only re-signs I'm going to be doing. So going into free agency, I'm going to be signing Isaiah Simmons to a 1-year deal. He had 30 tackles, 1 interception, and 16 stops this past season. He's an athletic safety linebacker hybrid to replace Patrick Queen in the short term. I think he had a bounce back year in the New York Giants. Had a productive season. Finally had a season where he wasn't a bust. I think he actually was a quality player who could play on the field. Better linebackers are available, but I want his athleticism. So I think while Patrick Queen was a good linebacker for them, I think he was a better athlete than linebacker in his first couple seasons, and they molded him into a good linebacker. I think they could do the same thing with Isaiah Simmons, who's more refined, as he's been in the league for 3 or 4 years now. Give him a cheaper 1-year deal at the linebacker position 1 year, $6.5 million deals. I think it makes too much sense what they're trying to do. Then, one signing on the offensive line I want them to do is Isaiah Wynn from the Miami Dolphins, all the way to the Patriots. He had a 48 PFF grade, 67 pass blocking, 43 run blocking, 3 penalties, and 0 sacks allowed. Yeah, didn't have the best season of his career. He's been pretty bad since his first or second year, winning that Super Bowl with the Patriots. Has not really been good since. Has now went to the Dolphins, which had a really bad year. But for me, he still has that former first-round talent. He hasn't lived up to the expectations, but I think he's still agile enough to play right tackle for this team. I think he has a high motor. You know, he has the willingness to switch around the offensive line to at least play and help the team win. A cheap deal, a chance to revive his career, and he can come in and play right tackle for us and try and get more money at the right tackle position. Because if he does have a bounce back year, you let him walk in free agency, he makes more money at right tackle. Otherwise, he might just be a backup guard for the rest of his career. So I decided to give him a 1 year, $1.7 million deal, fully guarantee it, and let him start at right tackle and say, this is your last chance. Like, play like your life depends on it. Then, in the draft, we have $13.7 million, and here's all my draft picks. I honestly really like, I like this draft a lot. So in the first round, I grabbed Peyton Wilson, the linebacker from North Carolina State. He's a great linebacker. I've been saying that I want to see him in the combine test. I think he could be my number 1 linebacker at the end of the day. Right now, Adrian Cooper is still my number 1 linebacker. I think Peyton Wilson could easily climb to be that number 1 guy for me. He can replace Patrick Queen easily long term. He had 26 coverage stops, which was number 1 in college football. He had 41 run stops, which was top 10 in college football. I still think he's a rising number 1 linebacker. I think it makes too much sense. He has the athleticism. He has the production to back it up. He has the football IQ and the skill. I think if he can get to the Baltimore Ravens at 30, they could draft one of the best linebackers in this class and have him sit. Maybe he doesn't start immediately. Maybe he's more of a rotation guy. But maybe if he does beat out Isaiah Simmons in the depth chart, then you have Isaiah Simmons play that Kyle Hamilton role. They're both rovers who are oversized corners. Then at 62, I'm going to grab Blake Fisher, a developmental right tackle. He was solid at Notre Dame at 6'6", 312. His athleticism and that mixture of size is very intriguing. He might take a year or two before he's truly ready. That's why I signed Isaiah Wynn to, potentially start at right tackle. Yeah, Blake Fisher, you sit him. If he does actually beat out Isaiah Wynn throughout the season, he can take over those snaps. But you bring in Isaiah Wynn to be that starter and Blake Fisher to develop for a year and kind of like get his body NFL ready and, make sure he actually understands what he's doing, because a lot of times his mind is not doing what his body is doing. Then at 93, I'm grabbing Javon Solomon from Troy, one of my sleepers at edge rusher. He had 17 sacks last year, which was dominant at Troy. He's coming off that 17 sack performance this past season. He used his athleticism as a pass rusher to even be dominant in the run game as well. He can come in, provide immediate pressure. I re-signed Kyle Van Noy. I did not re-sign Jadeveon Clowney, as you saw. I think Javon Solomon could come in and play that Jadeveon Clowney role even better. A solid run defender who has a lot of upside as a pass rusher, but Javon Solomon is a pass rusher with a lot of upside as a run defender. I think that Javon Solomon can come in, and I'm not gonna say start day one, but compete to start day one with his athleticism and how fast his motor is during the play. Then at 131, I'm grabbing Taj Washington from USC. Again, one of my sleeper guys. So when I do the Ravens and the Steelers, all of my sleeper guys get drafted because for some reason, the way I draft guys, those two teams also rank those guys the same way. It's like Javon Solomon and Taj Washington are going to end up on the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's how it always works. Keontae Benton, Travis Jones, Zay Flowers, like all the guys that I was really high on, they keep drafting. And it really sucks because I have to watch them be good for other teams. George Pickens was another one. Pat Fryermuth, like guys that I really like, they end up taking. It's very annoying. Then at 134, no way it happens. It's Trey Benson. No way. I'm sorry, Taj Washington. My comp is Tyler Lockett. The fact you can get Tyler Lockett in the 4th round is awesome. He uses his jump ball ability to get open downfield with great speed, great agility, but he's not just a jump ball guy down the field. He is still a good route runner. Then at 134, no way Trey Benson is available. But if PFF's gonna keep hating on my boy Trey Benson, my number 2 running back, I'm gonna keep drafting him in the 4th round, have a steal of a draft pick. I think he'd be a running back 1 in the NFL. I really do. He doesn't get tackled. It's like you could play a whole NFL game and not get any green on his jersey. The way he bounces off tackles with post-contact balance, the way he has his elusiveness. Like Trey Benson, I think I actually said Trey Benson, his running comp is Lamar Jackson. Like he has downhill speed, but when he needs to, he can be very elusive. I don't remember if that's what it was, I think Trey Benson's was, maybe it was Nick Chubb. It might have been Nick Chubb. It was Nick Chubb or Lamar Jackson was my comp for Trey Benson. Very different running styles, but Nick Chubb, that downhill running back, and Trey Benson has the elusiveness of Lamar Jackson to get around defenders easily. I think he's a great downhill running back, though, to pair with their more elusive running backs in Keaton Mitchell, in it's not Gus Edwards, in Justice Hill, in J.K. Dobbins if they re-sign him. Like, they keep drafting all these guys later rounds. I think Trey Benson is the one guy who can be a true workhorse running back. Then at 164, grabbing Trevor Keegan from Michigan. He's 6'6", 320 at left guard. Great size for left guard. He's a better pass blocker than run blocker, but this offense with Todd Monken moved to more of a passing offense. So I think Trevor Keegan can be an interesting fit for them. He allowed 0 sacks this past year. He could start day one with John Simpson leaving, but maybe he's more of that backup that becomes a starter. But Trevor Keegan can come in. Again, 6'6", 320, great pass blocker. Needs to work on run blocking, but for him, I think it's a great spot for the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, Harbaugh to Harbaugh. Maybe John could give Jim some ups about Trevor Keegan. Say, hey, this dude has the ability to be really good. If you don't draft him, I will draft him. Then at 248, another guy who I've recently got my number on is Jarius Monroe from Tulane. He's coming off the best year of his career in college. He had 14 forced incompletions, which is top 14 college football corner. He's 6'2", 205, has really good length as well in his arms. He's a very lengthy, athletic corner who had 3 picks last year. Like, he not only does he have a knack for finding the ball, he's lengthy, athletic. Yes, he gets beat sometimes in coverage, and he's not the greatest run defender, but for a 7th round pick, that is a great shot I'm taking on a guy in Jarius Monroe. Gives me a B-. I disagree. I think Trevor Keegan could start for them. Trey Benson is an A+ pick for me. Taj Washington is a B+, A- pick. I love the Javon Solomon pick. Blake Fisher could not work out in the end, but I think as a developmental right tackle with his size and athleticism, I want to see him in this Baltimore Ravens offense. And Peyton Wilson, I love Peyton Wilson. I hope he can really come off. And yeah, having Isaiah Wynn come in to be that potential right tackle for this year, bringing in as well, who did I bring in? Oh, Isaiah Simmons. If you can't get Peyton Wilson, I think Isaiah Simmons is a really interesting version of Patrick Queen. I don't think he's as good as Patrick Queen, but I think they have a lot of shades of the same game. You don't cut any of the guys that are super important. You just cut some backups who don't ever play. You re-sign the core guys like Geno Stone, who helped you win a lot of the games you had this year. I think it makes a lot of sense. But if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with this. Put on your notifications to see when I post next. I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.